What's up, everybody? It's Trey Smith, one half of the Blue Bloods College Game Time podcast. And today I want to talk about the Notre Dame defensive coordinator search and make a case for who I think would be the grand slam, just perfect hire for Marcus Freeman's staff. But before we get into it, please hit subscribe. Thank you so much for those who are already a subscriber. Really appreciate the support. And if you're not, just hit the button right now. Just go ahead, subscribe. All right, Notre Dame fans. Defensive coordinator, it's a big topic right now. Just got the defensive line coach in, hired a wide receivers coach last week. Like, Marcus Freeman's staff is starting to come together. And obviously there's multiple names floating around as to who's going to end up being that DC. One of the top targets that I know of right now is Derek Mason. Okay. And in my opinion, Derek Mason would be the home run hire for Marcus Freeman. And here's why. First off, he's no stranger to coaching at academically prestigious universities. Okay, he spent 7 years as the head coach at Vanderbilt. Prior to that, he spent 4 or 5 years at Stanford. His last 2 years there is as a defensive coordinator. I mean, really the last decade and some change, he spent coaching at universities with an academic prestige like Notre Dame. The only exception being this past season, 2021, when he was the defensive coordinator at Auburn. And I understand that it wasn't the greatest of seasons for him as a defensive coordinator. Auburn didn't exactly have the greatest season as well. But if you look at his history as a defensive coordinator, like, the man can coach. And if you look at his time at Stanford, they won back-to-back conference championships when he was the DC. They went to back-to-back Rose Bowls, won one of those Rose Bowls, and one of those seasons they were matched up against the number one team in the country, the Oregon Ducks, led by none other than Chip Kelly and that high-powered offense. And Derek Mason's defense shut that offense down. I think held them to only 2 scores when they played in either 2012 or 2013. So anyways, the man can coach defense. And I think if you combine him with Marcus Freeman, there's not going to be any worries about the defensive side of the ball when it comes to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Next, in his time at Vanderbilt, which I know was disappointing to Vanderbilt fans because he was coming off of, he took over for James Franklin, who the James Franklin era at Vanderbilt, he kind of did what's never been seen before there. Won back-to-back 9-win, had back-to-back 9-win seasons, back-to-back bowl wins, 3 straight bowl bids, and had him ranked in the top 25. I mean, just things that have never been done before. So his expectations going into that job were much higher than like the guy who's there now. But even while he was there, even though his wins, losses didn't really like pan out, he still made it to a couple bowl games, which at Vanderbilt, I mean, it's like, come on. But how he was able to recruit to that program, and then not just recruit, but develop guys. He recruited 2 Army All-Americans. He recruited 8 4-star players, and the program has only recruited 20 4-star players in its history, or at least in the era of tracking rankings. That's almost 40% of the school's total 4-star rankings in its history that he brought into the program. I mean, the man can recruit. And then if you look at NFL rosters, there's about 15 Vanderbilt players, former Vanderbilt Commodores, on active NFL rosters, like having contributing roles. Okay, guys like Zach Cunningham, guys like Joanne Williams with the Titans and the Patriots. And Zach Cunningham, if you remember, he was a high second-round draft pick from to the Texans. Now I believe he's with the Titans, getting ready to play in the playoffs next week. But he can recruit guys and he can develop guys. And I just wonder if he could do that at Vanderbilt, what could he do at Notre Dame? What could he do for Notre Dame's recruiting? And what could he do for Notre Dame's defense? You know, I believe that Derek Mason is a guy that could really help Notre Dame get over that hump of, well, they have a great regular season, but they can't do anything in the playoff and they can't do anything in the New Year's Six Bowls. They can't get it done when it matters. At least that's been the story for the last decade or whatever it's been. I believe if you bring Derek Mason onto this staff and you combine him with Marcus Freeman, the recruiting at Notre Dame is going to hit a level that we haven't seen in a long time. And I think he's going to bring in the caliber of athletes and the caliber of players and the quality of players that once they get developed, Notre Dame will become a national powerhouse. Now, I'm not going to say they're not already in that discussion because, you know, during Brian Kelly's era, I mean, they were They made the playoffs. They're making New Year's Six bowls. But I'm saying they're going to have more than just, oh, we get to the playoff or, oh, we get to the New Year's Six or whatever it is. It's no. It's going to be a team to reckon with in those games. Oh, and another quick tidbit that people tend to forget about, and I know this probably doesn't matter at this point, but Derek Mason did beat Kirby Smart when Kirby Smart was the head coach at Georgia. Yeah, the Kirby Smart that just won a national championship. Yeah, Derek Mason beat him as the head coach at Vanderbilt. And I believe it was Kirby Smart's first year, fair enough, but this was the year before he went and played for a national title, and Derek Mason beat him. So the man can coach, the man can recruit, the man can develop. Why not put him and Marcus Freeman together, and let's see what happens with this team here in a couple years. That's all I got. Irish fans, let me know in the comments who you would like to see in.